Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and Diablo 4 just dropped a massive amount of patch notes. And don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's literally a ton of stuff, but I'm going to give you a quick overview and just know that this is basically an insane amount of just good stuff. It's like all buffs. It's actually crazy. I expected to see some nerfs. I was like really holding my breath here. Thought like some things were going to get nerfed. It's like all buffs. Now, some things got more buffs than others, but it's all good stuff. First off, there's a lot of bug fixes and things that people like kind of have been affected by. But then most importantly is the fact that they've gone and just gotten all the Nightmare Dungeon stuff in that they said we're just going to have to wait for a while. Well, they've significantly increased the experience awarded for completing Nightmare Dungeons. They've significantly increased the experience gained from killing monsters in Nightmare Dungeons. Helltide chests now provide substantially more bonus experience when opened, and they significantly increased the rewarded experience from completing individual whispers across the board. And they fixed an issue where no experience was rewarded for completing the holdout style event that can occur after finishing dungeon objectives. So this is like the room where like you finish one section, you get like stuck in a little room, tons of monsters spawn. They didn't give any experience at all. Now they will give experience. That's just massive. Some of these rooms had a ton of elites. So real big buff here. They've buffed the Helltide boss. You can now, I don't know why this is in general, but you can also now teleport to your Nightmare Dungeon directly through the map. So Nightmare Dungeons are going to be the way to level now, hopefully. They also made it so the weekly bonus caches from world bosses no longer have a level requirement from opening. And yeah, just this, if literally this was all there was, this would be a massive W. But Blizzard just is wanting to go for double W, I guess. And they're adding in a bunch of balanced stuff as well. And it's basically all buffs. So quick developer's note, we're continuing our efforts to make all class builds feel fun and powerful with another round of balance updates. In particular, we have seen community feedback stating that basic skills aren't impactful enough in combat. These changes will not change the fundamental relationship between basic skills and core skills, but we hope that they help smooth out the leveling experience while we explore additional ways to strengthen them. We are also increasing the power of some skills that players feel are lagging behind their peers. As we look forward to future updates, we're monitoring other heavily discussed topics such as minion survivability and build parity. Please keep sending us your feedback and we'll see you in Sanctuary. So there is a ton of stuff here. I'll go through some of it real quick, but basically a lot of the base skills for like Barbarian, for example, got a little bit of a buff. I think that this is really, really nice. Some of them have had some of their like little effects added to them made slightly better. So things like enhanced flay, vulnerable chance increase from 10% to 15%. This is very nice because Barb doesn't really have a lot of vulnerability application. And speaking of vulnerability application, Kick has its cooldown reduced from 17 seconds to 13 seconds. If you've been watching like any of my builds, I am super hyped for this because I use Kick all the time. It's insane. I think it's kind of really under the radar right now. Yeah, it's just pretty hyped for that. They've also basically just gone through and just made a whole bunch of things better. Iron Skin's giving you more guaranteed barrier now, which I think is pretty good. They've made Call of the Ancients slightly better. They made Iron Maelstrom, I think, slightly better. I don't know if this is enough. Like I was testing out Iron Maelstrom with my Hoda build and it just did like no damage at all. So I'm not sure what they have to do to make this kind of really do damage. We'll have to see. They also went through and they adjust a bunch of the legendary aspects, and a bunch of these do like flat damage aspects. So they scale with item power. So the Bull Kathos Earthquake increased from 1747 to 3404 to 2687 to 3717. I don't really know very many people that are using this right now, but it's cool that they're like trying to make these work. And so there's a whole bunch of these flat aspects that they increased. They made Iron Warrior a little bit better as well. And they also are touching some of the unique items to make them better, which is cool. For Druids, Druids got very similar treatment. A lot of their base skills got a little bit of buffs. little things to make them better. And I think that this is all good changes. I believe Lightning Storm, the enhanced Lightning Storm, got a little bit of a buff here as well, from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Don't see very many people using Lightning Storm, so hopefully this is something that could potentially bop it up a little bit. Shred, got its healing back to where it used to be. Shred, was pretty good for leveling. I'm not sure that very many people are playing an end game right now, but yeah, I think Shred could be making a big comeback with this particular patch. Wolves getting a little bit of love. Hurricane getting love. I know a lot of people are complaining that Hurricane's a skill that you should kind of feel like Righteous Fire from Path of Exile, and it doesn't really do that. And so it seems like they're trying to increase the damage here. Rabies doing more damage. Cataclysm doing more damage. Lacerate, still probably bad. Petrify getting more damage bonus. Pummel, I don't remember which one this is, but getting more damage. And then a whole bunch of the passives here getting more love. But one of the big things here is Nature's Fury is going from a 20% chance to cast a free spell to 30%. That's a 50% increase on the base. That's pretty stinking massive. And then there's a couple of legendary aspects that got buffed here. And you notice that it is literally all increases, all buffs, all good stuff here. So Blurred Beast here going from 60 to 90 to 70 to 100. So just all buffs. Next up for Necromancers. Necromancers, I believe, got something that they've really been looking for, which we'll talk about here in a second, but minion buffs. So all of the base stuff got buffs. Decompose continues to, they are just lowering down the cooldown of the corpse generation here. And then one day this will hit 1 second and people will actually use this. But, Reap is getting more corpses. Hemorrhage is, getting more essence generation, a little bit more damage. And they're just trying to make these basic skills more reasonable to use. Sever's getting a little bit of a buff. Bloodlance this is a pretty sizable buff. So basically it's going from every 9 blood lances to every 7 blood lances now to get an overpower. I still think this is a little too high, but this is getting slightly better. Bone Prison getting its cooldown reduction, cooldown reduced. Iron Maiden getting more damage added to it. I don't know very many people are using Iron Maiden right now, but this could be pretty good. The Blight Corpse Tendrils getting more blood orb spawns, and people are using that. Bone Spikes, the damage increase from 80 to 120%. I don't know what this is actually. And this is the big thing right here. Raise Skeleton and Golem. Minions will now always engage targets with a cast curse. So if you want your minions to focus on something, you can now kind of direct them a little bit, which is maybe not a perfect solution. Curses have a huge AoE, but this is definitely a lot better step forward because minions definitely need to be slightly corralled, and just allowing them to kind of do whatever they want is really annoying. And then they've increased a bunch of the passives as well. And then some of these legendary aspects like Flesh Rending, for example, basically getting its essence generation doubled, which is pretty big, I think. For Rogue, they got, similar situation to a lot of the other classes where their base skills are all getting improved. Some of the underused skills like Barrage getting a little love. The Smoke Grenades getting a little bit of love here as well. Rain of Arrows, they're reducing the cooldown of this, but I don't think anybody's using Rain of Arrows. It's just so slow and so bad. I think it needs to have its entire animation reworked. So we'll have to see if this makes people use it. CQC getting a little bit of damage increase. Some of their aspects also getting bumps. As you can see, these guys, rogues aren't getting as much buffs as other classes, but I think rogues are in a really solid spot right now. Sork, a lot of its base skills getting buffs like other classes. Spark, Frostbolt, Firebolt, Charge Bolt also getting a little bit of a damage buff. Incinerate, Fireball getting a little bit of mana cost reduction. Frozen Orb getting a bunch of changes, which is good because I don't think very many people are using Frozen Orb at all. Blizzard, surprisingly, getting a damage buff. I was a little bit surprised to see this after seeing Uber Lilith getting absolutely melted by Blizzard. So getting a damage buff is kind of interesting. But it makes sense that in a lot of situations, it's just not very on par with other stuff. I just leveled up a Sorc with all ice skills, and Blizzard kind of felt pretty weak for the most part. Ice Blades getting a little bit of a buff. Just buffs, man. All the buffs. Literally, I don't think that there is a single nerf here. The only thing that even looks close to being a nerf is the Staff of Lam Essen, where the damage reduction has been reduced. So these are two negatives. So damage has been increased, which is a good thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the patch, man. This is going to be absolutely huge. I hope this is a first step in the right direction of kind of bringing a lot of builds up to parity. I'm pretty excited to see that this is literally all good news. Kind of insane. I expected nerfs. I expected some nerfs, but they literally just did all buffs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We'll see you again soon.